quick update today. I got a major milestone done, something I'm pretty proud of, something I was worried about getting done. And also my buddy Kevin stopped by, so it was great to see him. We don't see too many of our friends anymore these days with the pandemic, but anyway, we have some false spars to show you. Okay, aileron inboard false spar is installed. First, we set them all, mocked all these in, set them up, squared the main hangers for the aileron and flap, and then used our templates, 3 of these and this big one, to set. Had to pull this back just a tiny bit, maybe 1/8, with those in there to get it seated right tight in this this gap here. Ran into a couple problems. This area here is really hard to drill and to rivet, so I ended up using buying one of these adapters for my drill to get into tight spots, and I actually broke the shorter of these 2 drill bits because this is all kind of free to spin where it wants, and I let it go and messed up and broke. But luckily I had another one, so got that drilled. And then trying to rivet these, even with my custom ground rivet puller, I just couldn't get a nice straight pull on it. And the alternative was to buy there's 2 expensive options to buy offset rivet pullers, but my buddy Terry came to the rescue, and he made me this little wedge out of aluminum with a hole in it, and so you can keep the rivet head pressure nice and even and pull it at angle. It worked like a charm. So great, thanks again, Terry. Boy, it's great to have a mentor to just these little things that you wouldn't do. A couple other issues. It calls for these SS42 stainless steel rivets to go in here. These are the shorter ones. Sorry if it's not focusing. The shorter stainless steel rivets that come in your kit. There's this aluminum is pretty thick in some of these spots in here. And so I ended up having to use, it calls for SS42s in a lot of these spots. I ended up actually using these hardware 975, 525 in this location, and this location. These 3, the material was thin enough, but this one was too thick. That one too thick, obviously they call it. And this one was too thick to use the 42s in. So you might have to do that too. Okay, inboard's done and set. Still need to set the intermediate trailing edge ribs. Got the main trailing edge ribs installed. You need to set the intermediates and work on the outside. So we'll keep going. Okay, we had a nice visit from my good buddy Kevin. Got to show him the project. First person to come out and take a look at it. It's kind of cool. And back to work. So here we have the aileron in to set the outboard aileron false spar. You can see the clamps down there. So the directions say put the aileron in with 2 of the washers in here. The 960/416 washers in here. And we'll double check. We double check the length on this. It's 51 1/8, perfect from the inboard to this center. And then we drilled and cleat-coed and bolted this this bracket to the false spar. And then on the outboard here, we have to set this 5/16 to 3/8 of an inch gap here. This actually needs to bow out a little bit because when you put the fabric on, it's going to stretch it and pull it straight. So you build it slightly out a square right here. And then you flush the false spar up with the rib and clamp it in place. And now that we've done that, we can take this aileron off. It's set where it needs to be and all clamped. We'll take the aileron off and final drill and rivet all this in with our templates. All right, on to the next step. Okay, pulled the aileron off after we had it clamped. I had this false spar clamped in place for distance. Ended up needing 3 washers on this outside to give me the 5/16 or 3/8 distance here, like we talked about. All cleat-coed, ready to go, and set with this template. So now we'll rivet it in, and then I'll go back and hit these intermediate tail ribs here, and then the false spar will be done. Okay, the false spar for the aileron and the flap, we did that before. The false spar for the aileron is installed, riveted. Beautiful. Everything fits really well, high quality parts. Perfectly flush on here. So now we'll, let's go ahead and test fit the aileron right now. Okay, test fit is done. This false spar for the right wing, inboard and outboard, is done. Aileron fits good. We've got our 2 washers in here. We've got our center brace, our center hanger installed. And it took 3 washers out here in this one to get the gap to between 3/8 and 5/16. It's right in between the 2 at the end here. So we're good. Now we can go do that wing. They're both in. Left one's done. This one went way easier than the right because it was the second time I did it. Also started on the clips for the ribs. Yeah, went really well. This is one of those projects that I read the instruction, pre-read the instructions before I started the kit, and I thought, oh boy, this is gonna be tough. But it actually was pretty straightforward. Went pretty easy. So yeah, on to the next step. I need a couple more rivets, and the leading edge clamps are on the way, so there's a pretty good chance I'll get both of these wings done this week. All right. I gotta say, these pre-made ailerons are a big help, and they are perfect. They are money. They fit just right. They got these cool billet pieces in them, and what a time saver to not have to build this piece. So yeah, what a great kit.